Tonight we take you inside CECOT, El Salvador's massive high-security prison known as the Terrorism Confinement Center. CECOT, built in late 2022 and located in Tecoluca, is at the heart of President Nayib Bukele's sweeping crackdown on gang violence. Opened in early 2023, the facility can hold up to 40,000 inmates. As of June 2024, more than 14,500 prisoners are held there, many accused of belonging to the country's most violent gangs. Inside the walls, there are 8 massive pavilions. Cells packed with 65 to 70 prisoners each. No outdoor time, no family visits, no education programs, just steel, surveillance, and silence. Officials say inmates will never return to their communities. Even exercise sessions happen under military supervision. Dining halls, gyms, reserved for the guards, not the inmates. But how big is El Salvador's prison population? It's exploded, from 36,000 in 2021 to over 110,000 in 2024, according to the human rights group Cristasol. That includes both sentenced prisoners and those still awaiting trial. Cristasol alleges human rights violations, torture, abuse, lack of medical care, and claims at least 261 deaths in custody. Recently, CECOT made headlines again. This time, for receiving hundreds of deported migrants from the United States, most of them Venezuelans, accused of gang ties. The Trump administration invoked the rarely used Alien Enemies Act of 1798, a wartime law, claiming members of the Tren de Aragua gang were entering the United States. Despite providing little evidence, 137 men were deported under this order. Video released by El Salvador's government showed them arriving, shackled, heads bowed, being shaved, suited in white uniforms, and sent directly into CECOT cells. The price tag? The United States reportedly paid El Salvador $6 million to accept them. One case is drawing international backlash. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Salvadoran wrongly deported from Maryland. Despite a judge's order to bring him back, President Bukele says he lacks the authority. The White House insists Abrego is a gang member, citing an old domestic violence claim, while his lawyer says he's innocent. Senator Chris Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador demanding access to the prison and Abrego. He was denied. Instead, a Republican congressman, Riley Moore, toured the prison and posted a selfie in front of a crowded cell, praising the crackdown. Meanwhile, human rights groups and international observers warn CECOT may be impressive in size, but it raises alarming questions about justice, due process, and human dignity. For now, the prison remains a symbol of Bukele's iron-fisted strategy, and a new chapter in how nations are choosing to fight crime. A United States senator has met face-to-face with a man the Trump administration acknowledges was wrongly deported from Maryland to a high-security prison in El Salvador. Senator Chris Van Hollen shared photos of his meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who, despite a federal judge's order, has not been allowed to return to the United States. The meeting appeared to take place at a hotel, not the infamous CECOT prison where Abrego Garcia has been held since March. Afterward, El Salvador's President Nayib Bukele stated plainly, the detainee will remain in Salvadoran custody. The White House continues to accuse Abrego Garcia of being a member of MS-13, a designated foreign terrorist group. His lawyer strongly denies this, saying his client has never been charged or convicted of any crime. This meeting comes during a tense legal battle. On Thursday, a federal court ruled against the Trump administration, stating, quote, the government is asserting a right to stash away residents of this country in foreign prisons without the semblance of due process that is the foundation of our constitutional order. Abrego Garcia's lawyers are suing the United States government, calling the deportation not only unlawful, but an egregious error. And now, the Supreme Court has ordered that his return be facilitated. Photos shared by Van Hollen and President Bukele are the first visual confirmation of Abrego Garcia's status since his deportation. The senator said his main goal on this trip was to meet Kilmar, and he did just that. He also called Kilmar's wife, Jennifer, to pass along a message of love. However, the White House slammed the visit, calling it, quote, disgusting and accusing Democrats of siding with what they call an illegal alien MS-13 terrorist. Before meeting Abrego Garcia, Van Hollen says he was stopped by armed guards when trying to access CECOT prison, where the man remains detained. He was redirected, and the meeting took place off-site. Abrego Garcia had been living in Maryland until March 15, when he was deported with dozens of other Salvadorans and Venezuelans to CECOT. A Maryland judge later ruled his removal violated a standing 2019 court order that had granted him legal protection. The Trump administration has called it an administrative error, but the White House insists the deportation was justified. Trump allies say it fulfills his campaign promise to keep Americans safe. They've pointed to a restraining order filed in 2021 by Abrego Garcia's wife, alleging domestic abuse. But she has since told Newsweek the couple went through counseling and worked through those issues. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt made it clear this week he will never live in the United States of America again. She made those comments standing alongside Patty Morin, the mother of Rachel Morin, a Maryland woman murdered last year by an alleged fugitive from El Salvador, in an unrelated case. President Bukele, meanwhile, reposted the meeting photos online, sarcastically referring to social media rumors that Abrego Garcia had died in custody. Now that he's confirmed healthy, Bukele said, he gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody. Abrego Garcia's wife celebrated the news of the meeting, saying her prayers had been answered. But, she added, her family still has many questions, and they will continue fighting for his release. Senator Van Hollen has promised a full update upon his return to the United States. The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia continues to fuel a growing political storm, testing the limits of executive power, immigration law, and international human rights.